Hello everyone, Randy here with an all new Geek Order video. And yeah, this is gonna be one of those videos where I just kind of sit down and talk. Because we're at the start of a new year, it's 2025, first video of the year. I'm really looking forward to things that are gonna happen this year. I've been sitting here thinking about what I'm gonna do, kind of what my content's gonna look like, how I'm gonna stretch myself creatively, mentally, how I'm going to challenge myself, where things are going to go. And a lot of it really came down to one big goal. I think that's what I'm going to do with this video today is we're going to talk about that one big goal I have for 2025. And it's that most creative, one of the biggest endeavors I've ever taken on in my life. In the year 2025, I am going to write my first novel. Now, I'm right now in the planning stages of it. I do have a basic outline. I'm kind of working on the outline, but I've got an idea, I've got a premise, I've worked a few characters up. So that's the part right now I'm doing right now, is the researching. And already this is super rewarding, kind of figuring out the little pieces. I'm working on those little pieces, kind of putting the book together. I'm going through the process. I'm learning, kind of looking at different ideas of how to write a novel, kind of how to structure things. And it's a lot of learning. I'm going to be learning this as I go. So what kind of spurred that on? How did I come to this decision? And for me, this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. Honestly, probably since I was a kid. I definitely wrote a lot more as a kid. Very early on in school, elementary school, I definitely had a few teachers that thought I was going to be a writer and a novelist. And to be fair, it's one of those things that really stuck with me. I think my first grade teacher, Mrs. Lucas, was probably one of the ones that really noticed this early on. Because I definitely remember writing a lot in the early elementary years. So I feel like I've always had that inspiration and have wanted to do this for a long time. And of course, as you grow up, I definitely wrote a few things in elementary school years. I remember writing some stuff in middle school. Very much Star Trek clones. Very, very Star Trek clones. And of course, I've read a lot of sci-fi, things like that. And I've always wanted to leave my mark, do something creatively. And I don't know, it just felt like now was the right time. I've had a few other inspirations. In 2024, I read several books that were literally written by people I know, people I consider to be friends. It was so cool to see their passion, their inspiration come to life. And I don't know, it just kind of got that thought in the back of my head going. I was like, you've wanted to do this for a long time. This is something you have thought about. And I've thought about it on and off. I've heard things about, I've seen like NaNoWriMo and some other things. And around this year, after I'd read several books by people I know personally, and I've actually found a few more by people that I personally know. I'm gonna order those books soon and read some of those books this year as well. And it just kind of got me thinking, maybe this is the year to do it. Because also, in this year, 2025, I'm going to turn 40 at the end of the year in November. So it was kind of one of those, you're not getting any younger, and you got to start taking those kind of bucket list items off the list, right? I was like, all right, I've kind of got a good place going that I can start kicking some things off the list. I think that's where a lot of it was. A lot of it was a combination of the inspiration, watching people I know go through this process, put something into the world creatively. And that's one of those things where I've wanted to work the last few years, kind of figure out where my next great creative endeavor is going to be. I've been evolving my content, working on the YouTube channel, the vlogs, the things, some of those other things. But overall, and there's a kind of a desire to get back to more to the article writing I was doing before, the short form. And I'm going to be doing a lot of that more during the year too. But this year, my big goal is I want to put something longer into print. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to pitch this to a publisher or if I'm going to put it on Amazon, maybe just as a direct self-published thing. I'm still researching some of those. Those are questions I still have to come up with the answers to. So, and there's still a lot creatively. I have some ideas. I gotta get the initial structure, but even just starting to go through this process and working through the scenarios, kind of figuring out who the characters are going to be, how many characters I want to put in this story, how to introduce them. These are all questions I still have to ask. And I still have to work through the logistics of a lot of it. But for me, this is just even going through some of this thinking, this planning. It's been a very rewarding process, even just this small fraction of the overall work I know I'm going to have to do. And it has been amazing. I'm already feeling very accomplished with what I've got so far, but I know this is only the beginning. I have so far to go, so many things to figure out. And for the first time doing something like this, yeah, it's mind-boggling, but yeah, I'm just kind of gonna do it the way I do things. I'm gonna take it one step at a time, figure out, okay, what's the next thing I have to figure out? I've been going on YouTube. I've bought books. I actually just bought a book the other day. I'm gonna do the research, and I know there's different ways you can do things, different ways to write. I'm sure there's many different ways to structure a novel. So I'm going to learn about those things and kind of figure out which one is going to work for me. And I'm definitely going to take this very seriously. I want to have something that is a good story. I want to be, I obviously want it to be engaging. I want people to like the characters. So I've got to work through those details. But that is my plan for this year. This is one of the biggest undertakings that I've ever gone through. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. This is just something, there's been a number of creative things I wanted to do. This has kind of been on the list for a long time. But I feel like I'm kind of at a place in a headspace where I have that right motivation. I've got a few things spurring me on. I think I've learned a few things about myself over the years where I'm kind of ready to take on this type of creative project and see it through. So that's the big thing. I'm kind of letting you know now that this is my big plan for the year, is to write a novel and have that creative undertaking, because putting it into the world like that is also going to keep me accountable. It's going to keep me motivated. People are probably going to check in on me now. It's like, hey, How you coming on that book? So I'm very looking forward to enjoying that process, seeing that process through, and just seeing where it goes and getting to the finish line. I thought about doing this a few months ago, kind of using the whole NaNoWriMo thing as a kickoff, but I didn't want the restraint. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to start doing some of my planning, some of my thinking through, so that as we hit the new year, I can just start at a good pace, and then I'm going to learn what's my best pace. How much do I write per day or per week, whatever. Kind of figure out my best schedule. I didn't want to do it on a time crunch. I want to learn this process. I want to get it done right. And I want to just enjoy it. I don't want to do, I just decided I didn't want to do something as a time crunch, as a challenge for something that I haven't done before, or at least to this scale of writing. Maybe in future years I'll do NaNoWriMo and kind of do the speedrun challenge and challenge myself that way. But I think there's things I want to learn about this process beforehand that I want to have this one done before I go into more timed runs. This is a journey for me, self-exploration, learning this process, and hopefully this is something I'll be able to do more times in the future. And I may come on here with some other vlogs later on as I go through and learn things and kind of see where my head's at. But that's the plan right now, is I'm going to take, as long as it takes to do this one. Hopefully I'll have it done by the end of the year. But however long it takes, I'm going to learn the process. I'm going to figure out what works for me. And then I can challenge myself for more speed runs later on. But I am looking forward to this. I am very much looking forward to this journey, taking it on, learning this process, and ultimately putting something creative into the world. So that's the big update. That's my plan for the year. That's my big news so far, is 2025, we are writing a book. And thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, comment. Please share it. Reach out. Let me know. Even if it's just a, hey, how you doing? How you going on the book? So, of course, please follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, all those things that are, there to help. And I will see you all in the next video, guys. It's 2025. Let's do awesome creative things this year. See you in the next one.